You wake up at 5:40 without an alarm, you always do now. Not because some finance guru said early risers get rich, but because 31 years of grading papers by 6:00 a.m. rewired your body clock permanently, and retirement never asked it to change. The house is in 1,850 square foot brick ranch 2 streets back from the elementary school where you taught for 3 decades. You bought it in 1998 for $89,000. It's worth $310,000 now. Paid off since 2019. You are worth $1.8 million. The other teachers in the lounge, the ones who still whisper about your modest little place, have no idea. You put on the same cardigan you've worn to conferences for 9 years. Parents used to joke about it, you never minded. A cardigan that works doesn't need a replacement, and replacing things that work was never the goal. You make coffee at home, same as always, in the same percolator from 2004. While it brews, you check the number. 90 seconds. The only time all week you'll look at money, because Sundays are for numbers and the rest of the week is for living. $1.2 million sits in a 403(b), and a Roth IRA, mostly index funds, built one payroll deduction at a time on a teacher's salary that topped out at $61,000. You never earned 6 figures. Not once, not close, and still here you are. You did not sell during 2008 when your account dropped by 1/3 in 4 months. Back when you were 34 and terrified and kept contributing anyway because the automatic deduction didn't care how you felt. You did not sell in 2020 either. By then it wasn't fear, it was habit. $310,000 in home equity fully paid, $210,000 in a taxable brokerage, the bridge that let you walk away at 52 instead of 65. $80,000 in cash, 2 years of expenses, doing nothing and doing exactly its job. Cash isn't growth. Cash is the thing that means you never have to sell your growth at the worst possible moment. You close the laptop, the market will do whatever it does today and you will do nothing. This took 28 years to learn, and it cost nothing but patience and a refusal to check your account more than once a week for 3 decades. You drive a 2014 Corolla with 96,000 miles, bought used, paid in cash. At the light near the school, a colleague's husband pulls up in a new Tahoe, the kind with the 3rd row nobody uses. You know what he makes, you know what that truck costs a month, you're not judging him. You're just doing the math you can't unlearn. That payment invested instead at even a modest return is a retirement someone else will never have. The light turns green, he pulls away fast. You proceed at the speed limit, sipping coffee from a thermos older than some of your former students. Here's the part nobody at your retirement party understood. You retired at 52, 9 years before you had to, and not one person in that gymnasium. Not the principal, not the PTA president who cried. Not your closest work friend of 20 years, knew you could have retired at 45 if you'd wanted to. You kept teaching because you loved 5th graders and because every extra year was pure surplus, banked, not needed. Nobody suspects the woman with the 14-year-old minivan parked in the teacher lot could have bought a house in cash twice over. You worked because the job gave you something money can't. But you never let the job own you, because you never needed the paycheck the way your colleagues did. When the district floated a bad curriculum change in your 48th year, you were the only one in the meeting who said calmly, "I don't think that serves the kids." And here's why you could afford honesty. Most of the room couldn't. 2 years before you retired, they offered you a lead teacher stipend. More money, more meetings, more of your evenings gone to paperwork that had nothing to do with children. You said no thank you. Your principal looked at you like you turned down a raise out of spite. You hadn't, you'd just already done the math. The stipend would have delayed your exit by 4 months and cost you evenings you'd never get back. This is what the money actually bought. Not a boat, not a cruise, the no. A younger teacher, Priya, 27, catches you in the copy room during your last spring. "Can I ask something weird? You always seem so calm about money." "I've got $11,000 in student loans and credit card debt and I don't even know how it happened." You could lecture her, you don't. You remember being 27, staring at your own first paycheck stub and feeling like the numbers were speaking a language nobody taught you. Instead you say, 2 sentences fixed it for me. Pay yourself first automatically before you can spend it, and never carry a balance on anything that doesn't grow. That's it, everything else is commentary, you don't tell her your number. You never tell anyone your number. But that afternoon you leave a book on her desk, the same one a mentor left on yours in 1996. Sometimes what gets passed down in a school has nothing to do with lesson plans. Lunch is leftovers eaten at your desk. Same as it's been for 30 years, while colleagues order delivery and complain about prices in the same sentence. You used to feel a quiet superiority about this. You don't anymore. Somewhere past your first $400,000, the superiority burned off and something calmer replaced it. You're not eating leftovers to prove anything. You genuinely don't want the alternative more. That's the part influencers can't package into a video because it isn't a discipline. It's just what's left once discipline stops being necessary. Your phone buzzes at lunch. It's your son. His car needs a $900 repair he doesn't have. You hear him rehearsing the ask before he even gets to the number, the way people do when asking for help feels like admitting failure. I'll send it today, you tell him. It's not a loan. Cars break, that's not a character flaw. You transfer it from the account that exists for exactly this. $900 is a rounding error against $1.8 million. For him, it was the difference between a bad week and a spiral into a 26% interest credit card. The best return you'll ever get isn't in a fund. It's deleting a crisis from someone you raised. Mid-afternoon, back home now, retired 7 months, you're scrolling and a set of nice binoculars for bird watching. The hobby you always said you'd get to comes up at $340. You can afford it the way other people afford a sandwich. You almost click buy. Then the old ritual, the one you've run for 20 years, not can I afford it, that question retired before you did. Will you still want it in 30 days? Are you buying the object or the feeling of finally having time? Who are you buying it for? You sit with that last question longest. The honest answer half the time used to be for people who'd stopped paying attention to you years ago. You close the tab not out of willpower, out of recognition. Maybe you'll buy them in 30 days. Maybe you already have everything you need to sit on the back porch and wait for a cardinal. Someday someone will find out the number and assume there was a windfall, an inheritance, a lucky pension. There wasn't. Your parents left you nothing but a work ethic and a fear of debt. No stock picks, no lottery ticket. At 24, on a first-year teacher's salary of $22,000, you started putting away 12%. It felt like giving something up every single month for years. Every raise after that, half went to living a little better, half went to the number quietly growing in the background. Until it was eating nearly a third of a salary you never thought of as impressive. You barely felt it happen. You were unremarkable at picking investments and extraordinary at never touching them. 28 years, that's the whole secret. There is no secret. There's only a long, quiet hallway most people leave before the good part starts, because nobody claps for you in there and the walls don't have windows. Your net worth crossed $100,000 after 9 years of teaching. The next $100,000 took 4. The last $100,000 took under a year. The hallway has no windows, but it has a door, and yours opened at 52 on an ordinary Tuesday with a faculty meeting you were relieved to finally skip. Your neighbor Carol has a new car every 3 years, a kitchen renovation mid-payment, and a smile that says she's winning. Carol makes more than you ever did as a teacher. By every visible measure, Carol is ahead. You'd guess Carol couldn't survive 4 months without her next paycheck. You are not better than Carol. Her renovation makes her happy, and there's no formula that argues with happiness. But you watched your own mother work until 71 because there was nothing saved. And at 24, in one quiet, permanent decision, you promised yourself that wouldn't be you. Every year of the same cardigan, every kept Corolla, every automatic deduction was a 24-year-old keeping her word. Dinner is with your husband, same table you've eaten at for 26 years. He didn't build this with a big salary either. He built it by never questioning why the transfers happened automatically and never asking what they were for. 4 money disagreements in over 2 decades, each resolved the same way. First Sunday of the month, coffee, the numbers laid out plainly, no ambush, no secrets. Money problems in a long marriage are rarely math problems. They're surprise problems. You removed the surprises decades ago. After dinner, you walk the same loop you've walked for years, past the school that doesn't need you anymore. A former student's parent, running into you at the mailbox, once asked what your number was when it would finally be enough. You'd passed your number 2 years before you retired and nothing changed. No fireworks. The number kept climbing quietly and you were still the same person walking the same loop in the same shoes. That's the part that comes after the money, the part nobody warns you about. The finish line isn't a number. It already happened gradually, years before the balance caught up. The day you stopped dreading the mail, the day a colleague's layoff scare didn't touch your sleep. The day you said no to the stipend without flinching. Tonight you read in bed. Tomorrow there's a dentist appointment and nothing else because your calendar finally belongs to you. Someday your granddaughter will open an envelope explaining what's been quietly growing since the week she was born, and that will be the loudest thing your money ever does. Today you spent $19, gave away $900, and walked past a pair of binoculars twice. No one applauded. No one at your old school will ever know. Tomorrow the market opens, and whatever it does, you'll do nothing beautifully again, because when the money is finally permanently yours, it stops needing to be seen. And so do you.